Hello and a big warm welcome to you, and welcome to the Living Aware Parenting podcast. My name is Maru Rojas, PhD, and I'm a Level 2 Aware Parenting Instructor and the Regional Coordinator for Australia, New Zealand and Indonesia. And today I'm so delighted to be continuing this beautiful series celebrating the founder of Aware Parenting, Aletha Solter, who it was yesterday actually her 80th birthday, and just loving the conversations that I've had already. I'm so looking forward to this one, which is with you, lovely Maru Rojas, which I'm still probably not pronouncing your name actually. Maru, originally from Mexico. You live in London, you're an aware parenting instructor, and you also teach lots of other wonderful things such as elimination communication and what's the term you use? Natural toilet learning. What is the phrase?
Call it potty learning or toilet learning. Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me.
My pleasure. It would be wonderful if one day we have a get-together party. Everyone
Oh, I would love that.
somewhere celebrating Letha. We'll probably be able to do it virtually somehow at some point. We'll all come in as, what's it called again? Holograms or something.
Holograms, yeah.
So, I'm going to go to your questions. I'm still outside in my very wild front garden with various noises, so I will be muting myself when you're responding. And I'm going to go and find out which questions you've chosen, which I'm excited to see. So, your first question you've chosen is A1. So, A1 is Aletha Solter and her work. So, what would you like to say to Aletha about the difference that aware parenting has made to your life?
I wanted to start with this question because it really, I wanted to talk about the transformative effect of aware parenting in my whole life, as a family, raising children, but as an individual. I thought I started reading a book that would help me with my baby's sleep when my daughter was 7 months, 6, 7 months. And I did not imagine this path that it was going to take me down, because where parenting is about so much more than sleep. That I'd started with sleep, but a lot of parents start with, and it did help with sleep, obviously. But then I realized it was so much bigger, and a lot of the parenting advice out there is just that advice. You kind of how do you get your baby to sleep better? How do you get your toddler to stop hitting? How do you, like, very specific scripts of things that you do to change behavior. But aware parenting is so much more. And so I started with the sleep and then listening to feelings. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I'd never had anyone listen to my feelings. And so that led me down another path. And so for the last 7.5 years, both me and my husband, as parents, have been down this road of lots of inner work and breath work. And it's, yeah, meant like a career change for my husband as well, or potential career change for my husband, and a completely different way of living, of existing in the world, of knowing that feelings exist, of learning about nonviolent communication, all of these things that are kind of parallel to aware parenting.
Yep, I'm kind of laughing because I'm almost thinking that the Aletha's books almost need like a little almost like it's a joke, but it's
Disclaimer.
a thing of like, yes, you might be reading this to help your child cooperate or sleep or stop hitting, but it may well change your whole life in every single aspect that you could not even possibly imagine, including your career, what you're here to contribute in the world, your whole way of perceiving things. So yeah, so powerful, isn't it? And I love this sense of this kind of shared reality as well. So I went through and answered some of the questions too, and recorded an episode, and the lovely two folk who've been on before, Nick and Linda, the similarities of experience of like, yep, yes, that's why I'm smiling. So thank you for showing that. Yum. So the next question you chose was A6. So that is there an aspect of Aletha's work that you think is still ahead of its time? I love that question.
I am going to go for the Aletha's perspective on using the term regulation and co-regulation.
No, like we have a shared passion for this, don't we?
Yeah. And the fact that wherever you look at the moment and for the last few years, but now that there's so much advice on parenting, everything is about, oh, you need to regulate, you need to regulate yourself, regulate, help your children regulate, you've got to help them co-regulate everywhere you look. And it's just so muddled up, all of it. But knowing very clearly what Aletha, understands about regulation and regulation, that actually, well, first of all, we're human beings with lots of feelings and emotions, and there are lots of healthy ways of expressing those emotions that we don't need to feel in inverted commas regulated. And that that I also like etymology, and the etymology of regulation is to control by rule or method. I don't want to control my emotions. I want to feel them. I want to express them in healthy ways, so my children can do the same, so they can see that and also do the same, and they don't need me to come in and again do this inverted commas co-regulation where I do things to help them calm down, because that's not what children need. Another form of not letting them express their feelings, which is what we've been doing for centuries. And I do think, yeah, Aletha's understanding of this is way ahead of its time. And so many people are now, into this whole co-regulation regulation thing that they find it difficult to see. It's another form of suppression. So I love having that peace and that understanding. And I see some people are starting to come around to it as well. So yay.
I love we have little conversations behind the scenes that we're like, oh. So, and thank you for all that you share out on the, I was going to say front lines. That's not a, don't, that's not a phrase I'm doing. Out in social media world, in the public discourse, I suppose we could see it. Thinking about Roman times, what would be like in the, what would that have been called? The forums. In a way, it's interesting, isn't it? It's the word forum. It is, in a way, the public forum. So thank you for all the ways that you speak of that. I'm about to write I am writing my 3.0 version of the why I don't use the term regulate, the 25 ways why I don't. So thank you for speaking that, and I'm so with you and agreeing. And I love Aletha's stand and stance on that too, in terms of as aware parenting instructors, that's not a term we use. So thank you. Love it. Love it. Love it. So next question you've chosen is B1, which is your journey with aware parenting. Are you willing to describe a pivotal moment in your aware parenting journey?
Oh, I chose that one. I don't remember choosing that one.
It's funny, isn't it? It's
There
like,
you
oh,
go.
what was I going to say? Do you remember what you were going to say? Feel free, of course, if
Um,
you want to choose a different one.
that's okay. I know I wanted to share a story. So, well, actually, we've got two pivotal moments. I mean, the first one, the very first one, is the first time that I listened to my daughter crying. And it was very like tiny steps at the beginning because I didn't have the support of an instructor, which I wish I'd done a little bit sooner. I did eventually work with Rebecca in the UK, but at the beginning it was tiny steps, and just I was so desperate for something to change with sleep that just holding my daughter for like a minute and listen to her cry, and I didn't like put a boob in her mouth basically for the first time in 7 months. And she kind of just went back to sleep that first time. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I didn't know I had this power. I didn't know I had this capacity. I didn't know this was a thing. So that was obviously a really pivotal moment. And another story I wanted to share is something that happened recently, again with my daughter, when we'd had I can't remember exactly what had happened, but she was being aggressive in that moment, and I helped her with it, and I was staying with her, and she hurt me. And then when she came out of that aggressive state, we had a little repair, and she was really kind of worried that she'd hurt me and apologetic, and so we had a lovely moment of connection. And then I said, I'm going to go and check in on your brother because this was bedtime. And so I'm just going to go and check in that he's okay and that he's ready for bed and whatever. And she started crying because I was going to go next door. And we live in, people who are familiar with European houses, it's like door to door, everything's right together. And so, that I was in a bedroom and I was going to go and cross the hallway, and that was the other bedroom. And just started crying, don't leave me, please don't go. And there was a lot of tears and a lot of crying, and knowing exactly that this was not about the present. I just felt like this wave of relief. Like, imagine if I didn't have this knowledge. Imagine if I thought my 7-year-old was crying because I'm going next door. I would felt so I could almost feel this other parallel reality where I didn't know this, I didn't have this knowledge, and I feel like incredibly frustrated and maybe worried. What is wrong with my 7-year-old? Why is she crying about this tiny little thing? And this is ridiculous, and maybe lose my patience, or maybe thinking I need to contact a professional because this isn't normal for a 7-year-old. And just, yeah, just having this knowledge and knowing that this was a story from her birth that's coming up in this moment, because we were so connected and she was so apologetic after having hurt me. And so it all made sense. Everything was like, yeah, of course, this is happening right now. And we had a separation when she was born. So I know that this is like a theme that keeps coming up for her. Just being able to support her in those tears and be really empathetic and like, yes, of course, yeah, and I'm here and I hear you and I'm listening. And yeah, it was just, I can't even describe how beautiful that and how powerful that moment was. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share.
Ah, you're touching both of those. Was the first one? Did you say the first time was when she was 7 months old? So I liked as well the 7 months old and the 7 years and that and the sense and the experience, and that's mine too, that we can keep on having these pivotal moments. It's not only the first time, but often like throughout their lives that there can be these incredibly powerful, beautiful, meaningful experiences that we keep on having. It's not like, oh, we've done aware parenting and that's over, and now they're, I don't know, they're in those middle ages or they're a teenager and that's all done and dusted. No, 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 we keep on having those transformative experiences. So I love that. Thank you for sharing. Right, next one is 6B13C3, which is about the effects of practicing aware parenting. So in your work with parents, what part of aware parenting do you see creates the biggest sense of relief, hope, change, or possibility?
I see it with play and I see it with cry, but I'm going to share a little bit more about cry because recently a lot of parents that I work with in the last sort of 2, 3 years come to me when, again, with sleep, very similar story to me, and they are usually breastfeeding their babies to sleep every single time, or rocking or bouncing. And sometimes they even say, "Oh, it's not that bad. I just wish they would sleep a little bit better, just a bit better." It's not, that I can see they're not at that point of desperation that I was 7 years ago. And then they learn that they don't have to do all that rocking and they don't have to do all that feeding. And they're not kind of that the sense that I get from this, that they feel tied down to this, whatever they are doing at naps and bedtime, like they have to do this because otherwise baby won't sleep. And just having this knowledge and being like, oh, I could listen. And yes, it feels hard at the beginning, but then it gets a little bit easier. And sometimes they cry for 2 minutes and then they're asleep and I didn't have to do anything. And it was 2 minutes and they cannot believe that it was 2 minutes. And yes, sometimes they cry for a lot longer than that. But I still know that it's going to come to an end and that the crying will end. I thought the crying might never end and that crying does end. And so I just have to listen and be there. And my husband can do it as well. I don't have to be the one doing it or my co-parent. And I feel so free. And these are the words. I just feel free and relieved. It's such a relief to know that the baby will go to sleep and that it doesn't have to be me doing this thing every single time. So yeah.
I love how you really encapsulated so many elements there, didn't you, as well? But I really hear that sense, that freedom of possibility of like the crying's not going to go on forever. This sense of not being tied down to the jiggling and the rocking and the feeding, and particularly that sense it's so life changing, isn't it, for so many parents? It doesn't just, particularly with breastfeeding babies or children, that it's not just the mum who's breastfeeding, but the other parent or other family members can all be part of supporting sleep, which is so life-changing for everyone. It's a way of everyone getting their needs met. So I love that you encapsulated so much in there, didn't you? Beautiful. Thank you, lovely. Right, what's the next one? D3. You're
There we
in
go.
parenting now. What's the one thing about Aletha's work that continues to reveal new layers of meaning for you? In other words, that you are understanding the nuances of more and more. Oh, I love that you've chosen that one. Yum.
I'm trying to remember what did I want to say about this one. I did it last night. I was looking through them and I read them several times. I thought, oh yeah, this is this one. I really want to add this one. Let me have a little think.
I'm here with you. Take your time.
Okay, yeah, I think I know.
What was it? Let's guess.
Um,
I also had the sense that this would lot Nick and Linda. I can't remember. I was like, it's like a bit like a quiz show. So, will it be number one, loving limits? Number two, the balance of attention, or number three, attachment play? Which will it be? Or maybe it's the surprise for $3,000 or £3,000. The surprise one. Which will it be?
I think it is attachment play. What was that option
Attachment
two?
play. I can't remember. I think you've just won £5,000.
It was well, it's a joint question. Maybe it's like option two and three. So it's attachment play because I guess I never really thought I would be a playful parent. I knew I was going to be a different kind of parent. I knew when I was pregnant, someone that I really esteemed and really admired gave me a copy of the continuum concept. And I knew, like, I don't know what, I had no idea how I was going to parent. But I thought this was the book. This is, oh yes, I'm going to parent differently. I've got this book now. And I never pictured myself as a playful parent. And recently, I've seen a shift in my children. Not that I wasn't playful before, but I've kind of made more of an effort, so to speak, or I've been more mindful of it and been maybe had more ability, capacity to be more playful. Um, and there is this narrative, at least in my family, that my dad was a fun one. He worked very hard. He wasn't around as much as my mum. I didn't know all the things that my mum was doing behind the scenes that I now realize. All the appointments, all the birthday parties, all the remembering, all the caring, all of that. But my dad was the fun one. And it makes sense because my mum was carrying so much and doing so much that he had more capacity to come home and be playful. Um, and I didn't want that for my family. I didn't want that for myself. I wanted to also be the fun one. Um, and we did a little gratitude kind of ritual the other night. And my daughter said, "Oh, I love it when you're so fun." And I love your stories because that really got into telling them stories. And so I love your stories. You're the best storyteller. And they laugh and laugh and laugh when I tell them stories. And I love that I have that capacity. And that I can, not every time, but a lot of the times come in with a game and they'll laugh about it. And just picking those nuances because at the beginning I thought where parenting was all about the crying. And it was so transformative that I really focused on the crying. And they were babies, my daughter was a baby. So maybe there isn't so much opportunity for laughter and play when they're little. There's more of the listening to crying, and that's a big change. But then, yeah, having attachment play and knowing in those moments, oh, I could set a loving limit, but maybe we could just play about this as well. That would be more fun. So knowing that. And then the other thing was really experiencing how children heal from their birth, both through play and through crying. And that seeing that come up like repeatedly. And maybe it's taken me a few years to really get that, but I now really understand that. And there's so many layers to it and how spontaneous it is for children. They don't sort of go like, oh, I think this reminds me of my birth. Hang on a minute. Let me tell you about what I think happened. No, it's really like spontaneous, like this crying from my daughter when I just said, I'm going next door, and it's usually not a problem. And then it was one day. And so, yeah, very like nuanced and layered.
I love hearing both of those. Yum, 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 yum. So delicious, isn't it? Nick, in the last episode, I'm having a sense of like a party altogether as we kept on talking about aware parenting being the gift that keeps on giving. And I just really liked that, the sense of like, oh, there's this ever ongoing sense that we're going to keep on learning and having more nuanced understanding and more skill in our practices. So, yeah, love hearing that. Rightio, so that was D. Rightio, sound very English, don't I? E2. So your vision of the future. When you imagine future generations benefiting from this approach, what gives you a sense of hope or excitement?
Aletha talks about the oppression that we see in the world that's stemming from the way we're parenting children traditionally with lots of power over and being very authoritarian and oppressive. And that really stuck with me and it really makes sense. And as I imagine this generation of children, and I know that not a lot of children yet in the world, in the big wide world, are parenting and parented in this way, but even just a little pocket of children that parented in this way and the capacity they have to understand themselves and their feelings and to be connected to themselves and to be connected to others and the world and earth and nature. And I have this sense of real change and real possibility, and of the world looking completely different to what we're experiencing now, and all the painful things that we're going through now as a species. And and for them to have that capacity for change and for change to feel natural. And I really see it in my daughter, who is just so emotionally, people talk about raising emotionally intelligent children, and she is incredibly emotionally aware. She always wants to know when we meet new people, oh, do you think they do aware parenting? Do they listen to crying? It's really important for her to know this and to know that, oh, and she can tell. She would say, oh yeah, grandma and grandpa doesn't know how to express his anger, so he'll smash doors. And grandma just suppresses everything. She doesn't express her feelings. She just keeps it all to herself. We've obviously never mentioned this in front of her. She's just, naturally seeing these things. And she sees another people, like, oh yes, this mum of this little girl. Yeah, they just do things to keep her happy because they don't want her to cry. I'm just like, oh my goodness. Talk about being emotionally aware of, what's going on in the world and having this capacity. And yeah, I'm in awe in the way she talks sometimes, and seeing that as a possibility for everyone and a possibility for the world to have a completely different paradigm to what we're experiencing now. Because I can see it's so painful for so many different people for so many different reasons. And so I'm so willing and for it to change and grateful.
Yeah, I love that. I feel really touched hearing that, and I think about even, not even, but all the ways that all the influences she's having, like all the people that she's connecting with, and as she gets older, and the influence that she will have, so that every child who's been brought up in these ways, also just going out into the world and responding with these ways of understanding feeling. And it's so profound, isn't it? So many adults don't have that level of understanding of or feelings and what's actually going on for other people and themselves. So yeah, I love hearing that. Thank you for sharing. The next one is, so what is one thing that you wish every parent knew about children based on what you've learned about aware parenting?
I'm gonna go for play more. Just play. Play is wonderful. Laughing with the children is medicine. Having that capacity to, for fun and for, yeah, helping your children laugh and them finding you funny. And it's those little tiny moments sometimes at bedtime, they can be so reparative, and at other times they just really make an ordinary day into something extraordinary. The ability of using attachment play whenever. So yeah, one thing, just play.
I love that. I love that. Your quote you just said, laughing with your children is medicine. I just love that. Yeah, true medicine. Thank you. And the last one, what would you like to say to Aletha as we finish this conversation?
Just a thank you. Like the biggest thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't imagine all the research, putting all of this together from all that information out there. And, this was before we had the internet and we could type in things. And maybe that was easier because there was no typing in and getting a million different results and trying to sift through that. But I'm sure there was a lot of sifting and sorting and choosing and reading and putting it all together into this coherent piece that keeps evolving as well. Because I know Aletha keeps looking at all the different research that keeps coming in and looking at whether it aligns, whether aware parenting still aligns with that, and refining it and adding things. And having this framework, this container, is such an amazing tool. And like I said right at the beginning, like very first question, I could have never imagined that it would have taken me down this path of inner work and changing our lifestyle and the things that are important to us, and obviously my career, because I didn't picture myself being a web parenting mentor and all of these different things. And so, yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah. I'm imagining she's watching this and listening and receiving that. So thank you, lovely. I've so loved this. I love connecting with you. I love seeing your smile and your joy and your passion for aware parenting. I so appreciate knowing you and all that you do to contribute aware parenting to the world. And I would love to hear if you'd be willing to share. We'll share it in the notes as well. How can people find more about you and your work with aware parenting?
So they can find me on Instagram, of course. My handle is at underscore Maru.Rojas underscore. And I also have a website, so parenttogether.co.uk is my website. And yeah, I've got online courses and live courses. And yeah, everything I share is we're parenting aligned. So come and find me.
So highly recommend your beautiful work, Maru, and yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here, part of this party and celebration. I have a sense of like to come do one every year as well, like 81 and 82 and 93 and yeah, thank you, lovely. Really appreciate you. Thank you to everyone who's watched or listened, and if you have any stories that you would like to share about the way aware parenting has influenced your life, any of the questions that you've heard asked here that you would like to respond to, please send me an email or a message or DM me or whatever, and I would love to hear. And thanks, Maru. So much love to you. Big love.
Thank you.